Welcome everyone to our discussion program today. We have an interesting question to talk about. Should all museums and zoos be completely free for the public to visit? It's a topic that many people have different opinions about. Joining us today are two guests with different views. First we have Maria. Maria believes that free access is very important. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Alex. I'm happy to be here.
And we also have David. David thinks that making these places free might cause problems. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
We will start with opening statements from Maria and then David. After that, we will have some discussion. Finally, they will give their closing thoughts. So, let's begin. Maria, please share your view with us first.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, I strongly believe that all museums and zoos should be free for every single person. These places are not just attractions. They are very important for learning. Think about museums. They hold our history, our art, our science discoveries. They tell us stories about who we are and where we come from. Zoos teach us about animals and nature from all over the world. They help us understand how important it is to protect our planet and the creatures living on it. This kind of learning is valuable for everyone, not just people who go to university. It's especially important for children and students. Schools try their best, but visiting a museum or a zoo offers a different kind of learning experience. It's direct, it's visual, it's exciting. If these places are free, teachers can take their classes more often. Children can explore and learn in a fun way outside the classroom walls. My second point is about fairness, about equality. Culture and knowledge should not be luxuries only for people with enough money. Right now, ticket prices can be quite high, especially for a family. A family with several children might find it too expensive to visit a museum or zoo regularly, or even at all. This isn't fair. Why should a child from a poorer family miss out on seeing amazing art or learning about dinosaurs just because their parents cannot afford the tickets? Free access makes these wonderful resources open to everyone, no matter their income level. It breaks down financial barriers. It means students, unemployed people, families on a tight budget, everyone gets the same chance to learn and be inspired. This is what equality looks like in practice. Finally, free museums and zoos benefit the whole community. When entry is free, more people visit. This isn't just good for individuals, it's good for society. More visitors mean these places become lively centers of community life. People meet, they talk, they share experiences. It encourages local people to explore their own city's culture and nature. It can also attract tourists, which helps local businesses. Some people will ask, but what about the cost? That's a fair question, but I believe we can find solutions. Perhaps the government can provide more funding, seeing these institutions as essential public services, like libraries or parks. Donations from individuals and companies can also help. Many museums already have shops and cafes that make money. These could be developed further. The point is, the financial challenge can be met if we agree that access for all is the priority. Making museums and zoos free is an investment in our people, our education, and our shared culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, for explaining your position so clearly. Now, David, we'd like to hear why you think making museums and zoos free is not the best approach.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Maria, for your points. While I agree that education and access are important, I believe making all museums and zoos completely free would create serious problems. My main concern is about the cost of running these places. It is very expensive. Museums need to protect delicate objects, control temperature, and employ expert staff like curators and conservators. Zoos have enormous costs. They need large, safe spaces for the animals. They need specialized food, veterinary care, and keepers who understand animal behavior. This costs a lot of money every single day. Where does this money come from? A significant part often comes from ticket sales. If you remove ticket income completely, how will these institutions survive? Relying only on government funding or donations is risky. Government budgets can change, and donations might not be enough, especially for less famous or smaller institutions. Without enough money, the quality will suffer. Museums might not be able to put on new exhibitions or protect their collections properly. Zoos might struggle to provide the best care for their animals. That would be terrible. My second point is about overcrowding. If entry is free, it's likely that many more people will visit, especially on weekends or holidays. While more visitors might seem good, too many people at once can ruin the experience. Imagine trying to look at a famous painting when you are surrounded by a huge crowd. It's difficult and unpleasant. In zoos, large crowds can stress the animals. It can also make it harder for keepers to do their jobs safely and effectively. Managing very large numbers of visitors requires more staff, more security, and better infrastructure, which again costs money that might not be there if tickets are free. Thirdly, there's the issue of perceived value. Sometimes, when things are free, people don't value them as much. A small entrance fee can signal that the place is worth visiting and needs support. It encourages visitors to appreciate the effort and resources that go into maintaining the museum or zoo. I understand the desire for fairness that Maria mentioned, but perhaps there are better ways to achieve this than making it free for everyone, including tourists or people who can easily afford a ticket. Many museums and zoos already offer discounts for students, seniors, and families. Some have specific free days or evenings. We could expand these programs. We could offer free passes for people receiving government support. This targets help to those who need it most, without removing a vital source of income for the institutions. So while the idea of free access sounds nice, I believe the practical problems of funding, potential overcrowding, and maintaining quality make it unworkable and possibly harmful to the very places we want to protect. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for presenting the challenges. Maria, David raised important points about the high costs and the risk of overcrowding if entry becomes free. How would you respond to those concerns?
Thank you, Alex. David's concerns about funding are understandable, but I don't think they are impossible to solve. Firstly, we need to change how we think about museums and zoos. They are not just entertainment. They are essential parts of our educational and cultural infrastructure, like schools or public libraries. We don't expect libraries to fund themselves through entrance fees. We understand they are a public good, and the government supports them. I believe museums and zoos deserve similar public investment. It's about priorities. If a society values culture and education for all, it should be willing to fund it properly through taxes. Also, free entry doesn't mean zero income. As I mentioned, shops, cafes, special paid exhibitions, memberships, and private donations can still generate significant money. Many free national museums in the UK operate successfully this way. Regarding overcrowding, yes, popular places might get busier. But this is a management issue, not a reason to deny access. Institutions can use timed ticketing systems, even if they are free, to manage visitor flow. They can extend opening hours. They can encourage visits during less busy times. We manage crowds in parks, at free festivals, and in libraries. We can manage them in museums and zoos too. The benefit of making knowledge accessible to everyone outweighs the challenge of managing visitor numbers. Denying access based on ability to pay seems fundamentally unfair compared to finding practical solutions for visitor management.
Thank you, Maria. David argues that these institutions should be seen as essential public services funded by the government, similar to libraries, and that overcrowding can be managed. She also emphasizes the principle of fairness. What's your response?
Maria makes a strong case for the value of these places, and I agree they are valuable. But comparing them directly to libraries isn't quite accurate. The cost of maintaining a large zoo with hundreds of animals or a museum with priceless, fragile artifacts is often much higher than running a library. The security needs, the climate control, the specialized staff, it's a different scale of expense. Relying solely on government funding makes them vulnerable. What happens if there's an economic downturn and the government cuts funding? The animals still need feeding. The artifacts still need protecting. Ticket income provides a more stable, direct source of funds. Maria mentioned the UK model. While some national museums there are free, many rely heavily on strongly encouraged donations at the entrance and high prices for special exhibitions. Also, many regional museums and most zoos in the UK still charge entrance fees because they need the money. On fairness, I agree we should help those who cannot afford tickets, but does that mean entry must be free for everyone? Why should a wealthy tourist or someone who happily spends money on expensive coffee or cinema tickets get free entry when their contribution could help maintain the institution? Targeted support, free passes for low-income families, free school visits, discounted tickets, seems a fairer and more financially responsible way to ensure access for those who need help, without jeopardizing the institution's funding. It allows those who can afford to contribute to do so. This helps keep the quality high for everyone, including those who visit for free or at a discount.
Maria, David feels universal access sends a better message and that government funding should be seen as a stable commitment. Any final thoughts on this point?
Sending a message is one thing. Paying the bills is another. Political will can change quickly. Relying on ticket income gives institutions some control over their own finances. A small fee doesn't stop most people who genuinely want to visit. For those it does stop, we should absolutely help them with targeted schemes. But removing the fee entirely risks damaging the quality and long-term health of these valuable places. That doesn't help anyone in the end. Quality needs investment.
Okay, we need to move towards our closing statements now. Maria, please summarize your position.
Thank you. My position is clear. Museums and zoos hold our shared culture, history, and knowledge of the natural world. They should be open and accessible to every single person, without a price barrier. Making them free promotes education for all ages, especially children. It supports fairness and equality, ensuring that your income doesn't decide if you can learn about art or see amazing animals. Free access builds stronger communities by encouraging more people to visit and share these experiences. It makes these places true public spaces. Yes, there are costs involved, but these can be met through dedicated public funding, treating these institutions as essential services, alongside support from donations and other income sources. The challenges of funding and visitor management are solvable. The principle of equal access to knowledge and culture is too important to sacrifice for the price of a ticket. Let's invest in our society by making these wonderful resources free for everyone. It is the right thing to do for a fair and educated community. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Now, David, please give us your final thoughts.
Thank you, Alex. While I share Maria's appreciation for museums and zoos, I must maintain that making them universally free is not the best solution. Running these complex institutions costs a great deal of money. Ticket revenue is a vital and reliable source of funding that helps ensure high standards of care for animals, proper preservation of artifacts, and quality experiences for visitors. Removing this income risks lowering quality, reducing the ability to fund important research and conservation work, and could even lead to closures, especially for smaller institutions. Free entry could also lead to severe overcrowding, which damages the visitor experience and can be harmful to exhibits and animals. Fairness is important, but it can be achieved more effectively through targeted measures like discounts, free passes for low-income individuals, and free school visits. This helps those who truly need it without removing funding from everyone. A modest entrance fee reflects the value of the institution and asks those who can afford it to contribute to its upkeep. Let's support access through smart, targeted help, not through a policy that could unintentionally harm the long-term future of the very museums and zoos we all value. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, and thank you again, Maria, for a very thoughtful and interesting discussion today. We have heard strong arguments on both sides of the question. Should museums and zoos be free? Maria emphasized the benefits for education, equality, and community building, suggesting funding solutions can be found. David highlighted the practical challenges of cost, potential overcrowding, and maintaining quality, proposing targeted support instead of universal free entry. It's clear there are many factors to consider. We hope this discussion has given our listeners plenty to think about. Thank you to our guests, and thank you to our audience for joining us today. Goodbye for now.